This next twist project is more of a pendant here to create this ribbon shape, but it's these kinds of twists that are quite difficult to draw any other way than having this laid out flat and using SmartFlow to create that twist, using the twist function again in the transform menu. Otherwise, these kinds of twists you could create using curve from to view, but especially when this is going to double over itself, it's really difficult to draw those curves using curve from to view. Basically, you need to have two curves kind of blend together that would each be made using curve from to view. So really, it's just more trouble than it's worth to draw that, and it'd be really hard to make changes to those curves as well after they've been created if you want to tweak the shape. So this is going to allow us to make changes using SmartFlow and to really get this kind of twist exactly as we want it. So to begin, we're going to use the interp curve function to create. I'll draw it this way to create the ribbon shape. Now you can decide if you want this to be the center of your sweep or if you want that to be the outside or the inside. Let's try to have that be the center. So I'll create a single line from both sides. So the middle of the line will be right here in the middle. And I'll make that 0.75, so that's a total of 1 mil. And let's create that sweep. So I'm going to highlight that rail, hit F6, and select Sweep 1 History. Profiles the flat curve, and there's our sweep. So I'm pretty happy with that shape, so let's just use that. And now let's lay this surface out flat using Create UV Curve. Okay, so now this is that surface laid out flat. I'll create a surface using that UV curve, that closed planar curve, right here in surface called planar curves. And I'm going to draw a line from the middle to the middle, which represent this line right here, which is going to be my rail for a series of profiles. So there's my rail, and I'll highlight my rail to add profiles on it using Profile Placer. Instead of having that tilted on the side, I'll change the orient type to flat, and we're doing 1.5 wide, and I'll make that, let's do 1.2 just to have it be different. So I'm going to begin here, I'm going to assume that my twist is somewhere in the middle, so I'll leave one for the beginning of the twist. I'll say add again, another one for the end of the twist, and add another time, and then I'll finish at the end here. And press enter to create those profiles. And I'm going to choose a different color and begin to play around with the area of this twist as it's going to curl around and rotate 90 degrees. So I'm choosing this to create this part in sections rather than having one sweep, just so I have more ability to make changes to the one that's float on top. I'm going to create that connection between these two surfaces. This is my destination, or sorry, my base. This is my destination. So it's moving from here to here. Okay, if this is showing up upside down, there's a view shading type that will allow you to look at if the surface is inside out or not. Which, if I right-click on the name of the viewport, there's one called Detect UV Normals. So the red color means that that's the inside. So in this case, this is flipped upside down. So that should be that color facing up. So I can flip a color by selecting that surface, going to Utilities, and changing the direction. So these should be facing upwards. So to flip them, I'll select Flip right here and press Enter. This is inside out as well, but that's not really a massive deal. It should become closed once it has a cap placed on it, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I can move these along. If I want to move, just drag it, hold it onto Shift, and get a pretty good idea of where I want these to be. So I'm not bothering with using position. I'm just going to drag these profiles around rather than doing MSR. And I'll create some sweeps to finish up the shape. Okay, so I can kind of guess where I want that twist, but now I'm going to create that twist. Actually, I don't really need these right now. They'll kind of just go after the twist, so I'll just create the twist first, just so it'll make it easier for me to see my curves that I need for my twist, because I can twist this from the middle. So that object, I'm going to go to Transform, Twist, from the intersection to the intersection, or the middle is just as good. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. I don't like how that's rebuilding that surface. So if that's not working properly, I might have to create that surface in a different way. That's better. So is that the right way? Yes, I believe it is. It just needs to be moved around a bit. So with this shape right here, I'm going to move that around until I'm content with the placement of that sweep. I don't want to move around those profiles. Actually, those profiles are messing me up. Because as soon as I move those profiles, it's the sweep with history is redoing that sweep, and so it's taking away my twist. Actually, I don't need these curves either anymore. So now to adjust the length of this section, I just have to do a 1D scale to stretch this out, because I want this to begin here, about right there. It looks good, but I want this to continue further on, about maybe around here. To make sure that I don't distort the shape, if I don't do a 1D scale to pull it up like this, up in the Z-axis slightly, I might turn on project just to make sure that this is going to stay flat. And I'll do a 1D scale from here, hold on to Shift, so I can just kind of adjust the way that that looks as well. Okay, so you can see how quickly I can make adjustments to the look of this. And I'm not sure that this is the direction I wanted, actually. Let me mirror this to take a look. Yeah, that's more what I want. And that's actually, that's pretty good placement. Okay, yeah, that's getting better. So it's just great having the ability to make these changes. So I'm happy with the look of that rotation, that twist. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I can just grab profiles from these edges if I like. If I want to create a profile using dupe edge and joining that together. Forget about this guy. I'm not going to use him. Then I can create a sweep using this profile. And then for this direction, I'm starting here and moving in this direction, so I have to flip. Okay, I'm going to join these objects together, assuming that I like that proportion. And some more things you might choose to do if you wanted to still tweak around a little bit. You could put this on cage edit if you did want to continue your control of the twist section. You can still move this around. And if you want this portion right here to be even taller, or to move it up so it's flat or something, you can grab these objects and move them up. So I actually want to move the other people up. So move these up. Is that right? Sorry, this one was right. So it's this. So if I want this to be even at a higher difference, I could do a 1D scale. I'll turn off project. Yeah, I'm totally getting confused as to which side is which, but let me just figure that out. So if I move up that one, like a massive amount, okay, that's that side. To get that back again, I usually just move it a tiny little bit, just kind of wake it up. So indeed, this side is this side. That looks good to me anyways. So you hit escape 2 times to take away those points. That control box is a bit messed up, but just ignore it. And if we're finished with this flat object, you might want to save that, I mean, just in case you need to go back there at all. But when you're finished, you can delete that flat surface, and then that connection is broken. And then there's your object. So it's at least a very good way of quickly mocking up this shape. If you had to, you could duplicate these edges if you want just those curves as the 3D object. You could grab those curves of each. I did this before because I didn't really have a very smooth surface, so I grabbed each of these, then joined them together. I performed rebuild on each of them. It's quite a low number. And then I recreated the object just doing I don't need that one. I don't need the center. Just creating those walls using loft was fine. Yeah, it might get a little messed up here, but you could also create it using sweep 2 with a single line. Then you could adjust that portion using slash. Okay, so to finish, join the object, cap it, and then there's your piece. So again, so the ability to be able to move around that twisted section to really get that kind of a smooth kind of scalloping that you can really can be really tricky to draw. So it's just harnessing the ability of SmartFlow along with that twisted function in the transform menu.